back to the Outside the Sidelines podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Flores, and today my guest on the podcast is Isabella Vargas, recent San Jose State graduate and newly grad student at USF. Isabella, thanks for joining me today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
No problem. It's good to catch up, especially since we haven't seen each other in almost a year now. Our last time seeing each other was when I worked the SJSU basketball game, and you were there too.
Yeah, it's been so long, and I kind of miss working and getting back into that gym. Hopefully we can see each other again soon.
Exactly. Yeah, sports has kind of done a little tornado with the sports world, but I'm sure we'll connect pretty soon. But anyways, congrats on graduating this semester.
Thank you. I can't believe I'm done with that. Now I'm on to my next journey of USF, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, exactly. I know it's kind of hard and must be hard. It was hard for me, especially when I was unable to have a graduation ceremony. But hopefully when we're done with our masters, we'll eventually have
one. Right.
Yeah, maybe we'll even have the masters one before the San Jose State, or before our undergrad one, actually. I have a bet with myself that I'll graduate, or that I'll walk the stage in my master's before my old school will have a old graduation ceremony.
You think so? You think it's going to be that long?
No, they sent us an email that said that they were going to give us one like in May, but who knows? Like maybe we'll walk with like the class of 2021, but we'll see. Yeah. But anyways, besides working together, our connection together was working together over the summer. And it's a pretty funny story just because I didn't go to San Jose State at that time. I still went to Menlo. So you were part of the crew that kind of taught me the way that San Jose State works in their athletic department, as well as kind of teach me stuff about the school. So that way I could kind of tell students what to expect when they got to San Jose State, even though I didn't go there. So can you kind of describe that process, and was it difficult?
Well, you made it fairly easy. They were working with me. We were working the tennis tournament, I remember. And I had to tell you all these facts about San Jose State and what to say and what not to say when it comes to San Jose State. And you just kind of there being a representative of San Jose State when you didn't even go there and you went to Menlo. I thought that was pretty funny, but you did well. You represented San Jose State with pride, and very proud of you for it.
Yeah, thanks. So much pride that I even decided to go to school there after I graduated from Menlo. Yeah, so you're a big sports gal. Can you kind of describe how you got into sports and kind of what made you want to study sports management and work in the sports industry post-graduation?
Yeah, so, I mean, I've been around sports since I could walk, really. I started out playing t-ball, and I did ballet, and really any sport that, you know, your parents can put you in when you're barely walking. And eventually I was thrown into gymnastics and stuck with sports like my whole life. Eventually I got really attached to my dad, and all we would do was watch sports on TV, whether it was watching every single Giants game for multiple seasons, or watching all the Warriors games, watching football with him on Sundays or Mondays. And we just always had sports on TV. And so I thought, why not go into a career that of like what I know best? And sports was it. And so, you know, originally I was going into athletic training, ended up switching my route and focused on sport management instead.
Yeah, that's nice. I know athletic training, I definitely couldn't do that, too much memorizing, and especially since I almost failed anatomy in high school, but we're not going to talk about that one. But you mentioned your dad got you into sports. Is there a certain sports memory that you and your dad share together that kind of tops all the other ones?
Well, I was playing recreational soccer at the same time I was doing competitive gymnastics, which was a lot to handle, but, you know, I was able to get through it. But at that time when I was playing rec soccer, my dad was actually my coach. And, you know, that is always fun. And so he really tried to not play favoritism, even though he did. It was definitely difficult having him on the sidelines, acting as a coach rather than a parent, but it was also really exciting having that time with him and learning from him at the same time, because obviously he was my coach and you learn from your coaches. I think that has to be my favorite, because I don't know, all that extra time that I spent doing gymnastics, like I was never home. And so getting that quality time with my dad was just really special to me.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure he's proud of you seeing where you've become. And I can remember when my dad was my coach in Little League, man, I was like, oh, my dad's so mean as a coach. Like, if I play baseball when I grow up and ever become a coach, Dad, I'm not going to be as mean as you. And then I went to go coach the summer team last year for my old junior college. And then I was like, dang, now I know how my dad feels. These kids piss me off. But
Honestly, I totally agree. Like I was a gymnastics coach for some time, and I did a summer camp with kids, and I don't know, coaching is tough. So definitely I can see where my dad got it from.
yeah, coaching is tough. And I guess we'll find out, or I'll find out more about it when I coach this semester at Menlo. So we'll see how that one goes. As you mentioned before, you competed competitively in gymnastics, but what some people may not know about you is that you are the president, or you were the president, sorry, of the club gymnastics team at San Jose State. Can you kind of describe that experience and what that role kind of entails?
Yeah, so I started out competing probably like my second year at San Jose State. We have a club gymnastics team, and it was just a group of people that wanted to get together, and it ranges from knowing how to do a forward roll, which is the very basics of gymnastics, to doing the hardest skills of gymnastics. So you could literally come in there with no experience, which I thought was really interesting and really unique, because gymnastics is such a difficult sport and it takes you forever to learn. But it was so funny, like going in there, and I had only been there for a semester. And the semester that followed, I actually was appointed president because our president was moved up to the NCAA team. And so I had to make a really difficult and quick transition to becoming president and taking on that role, of really running the club. And it took me a while to adjust because there are a lot of factors that go into that position. And it's kind of like a front office role, and you're the whole front office. And so, like, you're doing the marketing, you're doing the fundraising, you're doing the traveling plans, the competition arrangements, everything, the recruiting. You're doing everything for the team, and you can have different people running it. Like, you could have your treasurer doing all the fundraising and the financial stuff. But because were such a small team, it didn't really allow us to have those positions. So it put a lot of weight on my shoulders, but overall it was an amazing experience, and I would definitely do it again. And I had a ton of fun, and I met new people from different colleges. So that was really cool.
Yeah, speaking of other colleges, I think some people think of club sports as kind of like, oh, you just go, you practice, you have fun. But what some people may not know is that you guys get to compete against other teams from other colleges. So what's like the typical schedule look like, or at San Jose State, who do you compete against and what do the competitions look like?
So in the fall, we typically have inter squads. So an inter squad is like a competition, like a typical gymnastics competition, except there aren't any judges. So it just kind of gives you the opportunity to go out there, perform your routines, with a competition like environment. So, and it's stressful, and you have to be prepared to go out there and compete in front of judges and be judged. So it kind of is the step up to competition season. And in the spring is actually when we start competing, for our season. And we usually go to UCLA. UCLA is something that we went to every year. We would travel out there, we would fly, because we didn't like driving, I guess. And so we would fly out there and go ready to win, really. And we go in our Leos, and we'd had all of our gear ready to compete. And yeah, so UCLA was one of them. Cal was another one that we went to every year. Davis as well. Davis would also typically host the inter squad competitions in the fall. And then I think my last year there, we went to regionals, which was actually in Arizona at ASU.
Nice. Yeah, that's definitely. Do you think a lot of people, or do you think people overlook club sports? Do you think more people should participate in them? Because I know a lot of people coming out of high school, their kind of mentality is like, oh, like if I don't make like the real team, then I don't want to play like on the club sports. But I think that should change, because if you have an opportunity to keep playing or doing what you love, then why don't you keep doing it? You know what I mean? So do you kind of think the
Yeah.
same way, or
Yeah, for sure. I 100%, I think people should get involved into club sports if you're interested in it. I think, I know for me, I was definitely hesitant about getting involved. Like, what if I'm not good enough or this and that? But some teams aren't as competitive as others. So, like my team, for example, allowed people from the very beginning that had no experience, and you can go and compete actually at that level. And others, like, I don't know, I think ice hockey, I would say, is super competitive and you have to go and try out. So it really just depends on the sport. But overall, college is a big stress on your life. And one of the ways to get rid of stress is go exercise and go play sports. And that is a way to get rid of your stress, is go and play your club sport that you're interested in. 100%. I think people should get more involved in it.
yeah, definitely. And along with your involvement in club sports, you also started interning for the San Jose State Athletic Department with the fan experience and marketing department. When did you start doing that? And can you kind of describe your experience doing that?
Jeez, it's been so long now. I want to say I started March of 2019. I didn't really know what to expect about the internship itself. Kind of went in and I saw the job posting within our kinesiology department in the Spartan complex. And I contacted Josh Moon, who was in charge of the internship program. And, he scheduled an interview and I was super eager to start. And he was ready to have me, and he was looking for interns, and people usually don't intern over the summer, but like you, like I was able to go and intern with you as well. And it was overall a really good experience for me, and it kind of taught me what I wanted to do in the future when I actually go into my career of after USF and things like that, focus on what I want to do.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing we did a lot of was kind of create marketing plans and promotional items for sports during the school year. So, what's like the most rewarding thing about seeing your promotions being utilized by the athletic department?
It was really cool. When we had like halftime games that we would come up with or put together, and we would see them in the script. And it's a Division I school, so having a Division I school use your ideas, like that's already special. And so seeing them actually being put out on the court, like when during basketball or on the field during football or soccer, um, it's definitely unique, and it taught me a lot about putting these promotions together, which actually prepares you for a career in the future of creating promotional schedules, whether it's like, I don't know, a throwback night or, whatever. So that was really unique when your promotions were used.
Yeah, definitely. And football is a big sport at San Jose State, and I'm sure you've been involved with a lot of game days for the football team. Can you kind of describe a typical game day experience?
So for football were our longest days. We probably had like at least 12-hour days. We would have split shifts. We would go in super early and put together our fan engagement area. So we had a specific section where we had games for the families that would come in. So we had coloring area. We had, I don't know, a whole bunch of games. We had like bowling, we had inflatables, a whole bunch of stuff that we would do pregame. So that's one of the things that we did. Eventually, when the game started, we had some people on the field working our promotions. We had some people looking for fans. Like one of our promotions that we had was moving people from the upper level to the lower level and giving them new seats. right? So we would have people looking for fans to move around or to include in our promotions. And we had some other interns working our informational booth and some other interns like working our fan engagement area throughout the whole game. So they were long days, and it's all about following a script that starts from pregame, during the game, and into postgame, and it tells you every little step of what's going on and what's going to happen throughout the day. And it's something that everyone in the stadium follows. So if you mess up, it's noticeable, and it's not going to be pretty. You're going to get a lecture if you mess up. So try to avoid that for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And like you mentioned, there's a lot of roles involved and a lot of pieces that go into the puzzle. What was your kind of favorite thing that you were involved with when you were working?
So I think my favorite sport to work with was actually gymnastics. Because I was the only intern that knew how gymnastics worked. It was just me and Josh. Josh was our boss. So Josh and I would go work a gymnastics competition, and I would work the video board and put up all of our graphics. So he'd be downstairs working the mic, making sure everything was going smoothly, playing the music, things like that. And I was upstairs in a little booth working with the guy who was recording all of our gymnasts do their routines and perform their vaults and things like that. And we just worked together, and I think I took more of a leadership role there. And I think that had to be my favorite because I was able to take that leadership role.
Yeah, definitely. And that's where all the quick thinking stuff comes in. And your experience with gymnastics makes it even more enjoyable. So it's a win-win.
Exactly. It was super fun.
Yeah. Now let's talk about women in sports. I know that throughout the years, it's been really difficult for women to get involved in the sports industry. But more recently, there's been a lot of advancements, even in the dark times of 2020. Like, for example, there's Rachel Luba, Trevor Bauer's agent, the first female MLB agent. There's Becky Hammond, who got her opportunity to step up as the head coach for the Spurs a few weeks ago. And then most recently, Bianca Smith for the Red Sox, who's the first female assistant coach. Well, not the first full, but another female assistant coach. And it seems like baseball is doing a lot right now with Kim Ng being the first female general manager. Can you kind of describe how seeing all these women being put into a position of powers that they normally aren't involved with, what does that do for you as an aspiring worker in the sports industry?
Yeah, I get really excited talking about women in sports, so let's keep this going. So I am so excited that these people are making these moves and they're breaking glass ceilings. Women were never in these roles in the past, and to see this movement happening is inspiring, and it makes you want to continue to work harder and to get into those roles that women would never get into. And so to see this is incredible. And I actually read an article about how this momentum is pretty unique, especially with the U.S. women's national team. They've been fighting for equal pay for so long, and they continue, and they brought in a huge fight with the U.S. Soccer Federation, and they're really proving their point of what they actually deserve with winning the Women's World Cup recently in 2019. And then from there, like, we have new movements of the WNBA and their wobble and the statements that they made for social inequality. Like, they're not afraid to, lose something because they're doing it together as a unit. And to see that is pretty powerful. And seeing all these improvements it's crazy. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think hopefully it only goes up from here. I know there's a lot of negative attitudes, and it's kind of hard to see from a perspective standpoint. But I think that because I was lucky enough to do research on at least the MLB on how their progression has been made with women in powerful positions. But like as of last year, it was actually on a downhill trend, but now it looks like it's getting a little better. So hopefully we continue that uphill trend, and hopefully we all get along.
Yeah, the momentum is definitely there, and it's exciting. And everything slowed down because of the pandemic. It wasn't just women's sports, like it was men's sports. It was everyone and everything that slowed down. And I know that when we come out of this pandemic, the fight is going to continue, and it's going to be as strong as ever. And you can see it already with the new NWSL team, Angel City. Their whole, or a majority of their ownership is women, and a lot of those women were actually women in sport. Billie Jean King, to name one of them, which is incredible. And so just to see that movement, and probably the future of women's sports, it's going to continue. Like I have no doubt.
Yeah, definitely. And you see all the people who are making a difference in the women in sport movement is you see them inspiring people on Twitter. And I think social media now is very important, whether it be for advocating for social injustice or for advocating women in sport. How do you think social media is going to kind of change the way people look at women in sport as well as social injustice in sports?
Well, I mean, social media these days is huge. If you don't have a platform on social media, you need to get one, because that's where all the information is being put out, good or bad. And I know that the U.S. women's national team is definitely making a statement on the field and off the field, and especially on social media. And I know that's now how people spread the word, and that's how everyone's going to receive their information. So if you want to build a community from, you start there, but if you want to build a global connection with people, then social media is your way to go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the best place to get your voice heard. And for athletes, I think it's really important for them to use their platforms and not I know a lot of people want to silence athletes and just tell them to focus on sport, but they're people too. And they have they have a lot of more fans than other people. And with those fans, they can use it to send a message. So that's especially what they should be focused on. Yeah, but let's talk about your experience. So what do you were going to grad school at USF, one of the best sports management kind of departments in the country. What are your goals post master's degree?
Oh, post master's. So currently, I'm looking for internships, specifically in the WNBA, just because I want to get that experience working for a women's league. Whether it's sure I want to make some type of impact like these other women have in women's sports. So, I mean, I have these big dreams that I hope to accomplish one day. So every day I'm just working for those dreams and meeting new people and building those connections as much as I can. So hopefully in the future, I'll be working in game production and fan engagement in some type of way in a women's league.
Nice. And what made you want to go to grad school? I know a lot of people think about grad school as, an extra 2 years of school. I don't want to do that. I already did that for 4, but what made you want to do that?
I think overall, I love learning, and if it's something that I'm passionate about, I'm going to keep doing my research. I'm going to keep learning. And so having this opportunity to go and do my master's and learn more about sports and everything that goes into it, I had to take it. I had to take that opportunity. And so I know in my undergrad, it was mainly kinesiology based and less sport management based. So I have so much to learn, and I know all these classes are going to give me that opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. And since that sports is an ever changing world and changes every year, and the way that it's run changes every year. So it's definitely important to keep learning. And that's what my goal is as well. So yeah, now let's get into the last section of the podcast. It's called the Outside the Sidelines post-podcast conference. So I'm going to give you 3 off-the-wall questions, and you're going to do your best to answer them. So first question. So like you mentioned earlier, you and your dad attended a lot of sports games when you were younger. Is there one sporting event that you would have loved to attend to or want to attend to in the future?
Oh, gosh. I would have loved to go to the Women's World Cup final in France in 2019. I would have loved to be there, because I know at the end of the game they were chanting equal pay for equal play and things like that. And that would have been such an inspirational moment. I know in the future, hopefully when it's in Los Angeles, I want to go to the USA or go see USA Gymnastics during the Olympics.
Nice. Yeah, I heard that international sports are like or watching two countries compete in a sport like internationally is just a totally different environment than here in the US, just because it's like even if the country doesn't watch the sport, they're still rooting for their country. So it just makes it even the atmosphere even better. So yeah, that's great. And I follow you on Twitter, and a lot of your tweets are about Bad Bunny as well as a lot of his new songs that come out. That's like your whole content, or at least that's what comes up on my page. So this question is based off that. So if Bad Bunny were able to give you a private concert, but you were only able to pick 3 songs, what songs are you picking?
Oh my gosh, this is so difficult. Okay, I will go with from his second album. I will go with A Tu Merced. And then I would go with Solia. And then from his latest album, I will pick, I think it's called like Antes que se acabe. I think that's what it's called. Yeah. Those are my top 3. So that's what I'm going to go with. I'm hoping that I can see him again. I've already seen him probably like 3 times. I'm hoping to see him again one time in the future. I want to do it in a different country just to see the environment.
What country would you pick?
Puerto Rico, because that's where he's from.
Oh yeah, that would probably be insane.
That'd be sick. Yeah.
And I also have to add those songs to the list of songs that I have to listen to, because right now my music taste is really basic, but that's a topic for another podcast. Anyways, last question. You're a big Bay Area sports fan. You cheer for most Bay Area teams, but the Bay Area, as well as California, is known for its earthquakes. So if an earthquake destroyed a Bay Area sports team stadium, which one would you not really be too sad to leave? And why would it be the Oakland Coliseum?
Oh, I wasn't even going to say the Oakland Coliseum. Okay, look, they're going to build a new stadium for them. So it's in the works. So I'm not going to say Oakland Coliseum. And plus, that place has so much history. That place should be like its own museum. I would say Levi's Stadium, only because the 49ers play there. And if I didn't say that, my dad would get really pissed at me.
That's a good response. No, the only reason why I say why would it be the Oakland Coliseum, just because, man, that place smells like pee.
No, okay, but actually, yeah.
No, and I know it's gonna piss off my mentor that I had on my last podcast, because he's an A's fan, and I just love pissing him off. It's great. Hopefully he watches this one, but we'll see. Anyways, I just want to thank you for joining me again, and I hope the rest of your master's degree goes smoothly, and I hope to connect with you in the future again.
I know. I hope to be working with you in the future. It was so much fun having you even for such a short period of time, and I'm glad we're still connected, and I wish you the best of luck at San Jose State.
Exactly. You too. I wish you the best at USF, and I will see you after the pandemic, which who knows when that'll end.
For sure.
All right, guys. Yeah, thank you for watching, and we will see you next Tuesday for the next podcast. Anyways, have a great week. Take care, everyone.